Out here today, I'm gonna be moving some stands, readjust for the rut, and I have a stand down in the bottom here that hasn't really been producing anything for me the last couple days, the last couple weeks actually. Sent it over some early scrapes and left the camera out. I didn't get much. A little basket rack 6 and maybe a doe or two in the last month or so. So I'm on my way down into this stand to basically do a last camera check to make sure everything, there's nothing that moved into the area. But there's a bunch of browse. Like you can see, they browse those little tree tops off. But there's a bunch of signs, scrapes, rubs. But they seem to have moved up the hill a couple 100 yards. So I'll be here at the stand in a couple minutes and tear that guy down and actually walk around and see where exactly I want to put it. So I'm going to take you guys along with me today and show you how I would decide to move a stand according to deer movement or the rut. During the rut, I like to hunt the thick stuff, move down into the pines into the grapevines, and maybe even into like a bunch of sapling thickets, find an open area. So stay along for the ride. So I just checked my stand. This is one of the scrapes here that I was hunting. It's fairly fresh. Pretty much, there's not a lot of leaves on it, but some fresh sign in there. You can kind of see how they kick the dirt off. There's a few leaves on it, but what I was looking at was here. There's not any broken limbs. So they're using it, but they're not using it hard. Right there's my stand. So I'm 20 yards off of that scrape. And but I'm gonna take a walk down here through the woods. This isn't a bedding area. This is more of like a travel corridor through. There's a field down that way, and there's a field up there. So we're kind of like in a little pinched area with, it's maybe 150, 200 yards wide between the two fields, and they like to travel that. This is all just ridges and valleys through here. So I figured this flat would be good. I just popped a spot up here last year and had pretty good success, so I left it. This is the stand. You can see right there's my climber. So I'm gonna go ahead and check this camera. Last year they all came. There's a little road that comes right through there. A lot of them came through there. Or there's another trail that comes right out here that they came in. And then there's a tram road that runs this way that they all traveled. So we'll see what the camera says. There wasn't much on that one either. Nothing actually. So a couple pictures of blank. So I'm gonna keep on walking and see if I can locate where these things are traveling to. So I'm over here. Those grapevines are right up there. I was walking up there, came across a nice big scrape. Seems to be fairly fresh, maybe about not more than a week old. So there goes a deer right there. Just bounced the doe out, 2 does out, so they're hanging in here. There's that rub. And this ain't their bedding area. This is just where they travel through. But those does were just right up there, 20, 30 yards. So it bounced them out. So that's a good sign. There's a bunch of them here. There's the oak tree. Oh, there it is. There's two big oaks right there. Well, I just came up into this thick stuff. Run into a bed right there. And then as I'm looking around, there's another bed right there. There's a bed right there. Another bed right there. So I think I found a good area where they're spending a lot of time. There's another bed right there on the other end of these ferns. So I'm actually going to back out of here, and I think I'm going to go back down that way. But there's one right against that log that may be a buck bed, but I'm not seeing any sign, coming in or out. But I'm gonna swing around up this way and out around here. I accidentally walked into these beds, not on purpose, but I'm guessing that there's a couple deer that are using these pretty regular, because they're in a pretty heavily thick area, and you can see how thick it is around me here. So I'm gonna back out of here. So I was walking back to the four-wheel and came across, that thing must be 2 feet wide by 4 feet long. Look at that limb all busted off. So I don't know, I was gonna move my stand out of the bottom just that way. Back that way a little bit is the other corner of the field. So I may just bump mine back in here somewhere. I don't know. I'm gonna finish walking this road out, but that's pretty fresh. Alright, so I finally got my stand down. Got all my stuff on my back, and we're gonna head to another spot here, and head to a spot that we can, I found a little bit more sign. It was right, pretty close to where I showed you that last scrape, that big one that was about 4 foot long. So we're gonna head out that way, which it's about a couple hundred yards on out the woods here. So I'm gonna take you on a walk, show you where I'm gonna put the stand. I don't want to be right on the trail. I also tried that pine, but it's pretty branchy. That tree's not bad, but there's not a lot of cover on it. The only other option I see is that group of trees right there, where I'm kind of in between everything. Alright, so I got my stand set up. I actually set up, you can see it right there in that tree. 25 yards from that scrape. Right there's that tree. I'm actually going to set a trail cam on this tree before I head out. See if I'm getting any activity to that. So I'm actually going to go ahead and move my other stand now. And I'll take you guys up there and show you what I do. So basically I pick my rut spots a lot based off of sign. If they're running a road, if they're rubbing, if they're scraping, I'm going to hunt that. The reason being is, even if you hunt their bedding areas closer to the rut, they're still getting up and moving around. They're still going to make their rounds, check their scrapes. They're still going to check their territory. So even if you do get in close to a bedding area, you're not guaranteed to see the deer. So it's a crapshoot, but I always fall back. That's 100%. That's 100% for me. I mean, I know they're here. The bedding areas, they come and go. So that's how I pick my stands. If I can't find any sign, I'll hunt 150 yards, 100 yards from the bedding areas. Normally I try to grab the grapevines or thickets or hunt the edges of those, and then try to get something to come out of them. But that's how I pick them. So I'm going to go up to my other stand here once I set this trail cam and show you guys around up there. Hey guys, I just picked up my other stand here. I'm gonna move it. I'm in the general area where I was before when I told you I found those beds, and there's a scrape 20 yards or so over there. There's a couple rubs along this road, so I think I'm gonna set up here. This is one of those, you know, I found the bedding area on back to my right here a little bit, and I don't want to get too close to it. Like I said, I stay 100-150 yards out of that. I accidentally walked in on that earlier this afternoon, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick that tree right there. I mean, it looks pretty open, but looking around, there's not much more that I can pick. You know, for size-wise, it will actually be good and sturdy. There's a trailhead right there where you see that stump is the head of the trail, and then there's another trail that comes down along, meets it, and then this one heads back in to toward their bedding area. So I'm gonna stay out here on this point, and I think I'm just gonna slide up that tree right there, kind of point myself out this way, so I'm not actually out over the trail. I'm actually back in toward the woods. So that's my plan. I got a field. The field that I shot my buck in last year is 7,500 yards just over this hill. Not even, you know, maybe 80 yards over that hill. And there's been some good activity through that field this year. Getting some pretty good pictures on the father-in-law's camera, so I'm gonna hang close. You know, I know they travel this road and they come up and down here, so I'm gonna go ahead and hang this stand and get out of the woods for the day. Alright, so I got my stand hung. You can see her sitting right there. It's not as out in the open as I thought it would be. It's about 25 foot. Again, scrape there. Bedding area, 150 yards that way, out into the thicket where I found those beds earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and touch up this scrape and set a camera, put it on video, and I'm gonna get out of here, go down and drink a beer. So thanks again for watching. Subscribe and share us out. Let us know what you think. See ya.